You ready to start?
Hold on.
Assume positioning.
What are we talking about? Oh, the Tiger series.
You started the recording, you leave that in? You fuck.
Hey, I probably will.
Nah.
It's pretty.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Hey, Tarik Skubal, we own you, guy. We own you. I should say Paul Goldschmidt owns you. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. You know, that was built up.
Is this potting? We're potting?
We're potting. This was built up.
We're potting.
This was built up from yesterday. I was at work all by myself. I had no one to shout with in the office. I was there rooting for Paul. I had to just celebrate via text. I finally can get it out. Paul Goldschmidt, man. How about that? And if you saw our Instagram video, TikTok video out on socials, Andrew, you delivered
well.
a beautiful video.
Thank you.
We're talking about Paul Goldschmidt, and we talked about it on the pod. Like they got to make room for the guy. That's it. Ben Rice. I've already seen some comments on that video saying it's not worth risking Ben Rice's injury for the output. I don't care. The catchers can't hit right now. If you're so worried about his output being decreased, it cannot be worse than what we have right now. And would you rather trade for a catcher with a hammy bone injury? Ben Rice has to catch. I'm sorry. This is not how I envisioned to start the pod, but I was just juiced up.
Well, welcome back to the Allen Hour, everybody. We're going to be covering the Tiger series and previewing the Red Sox series. No, I agree with you. And I just responded to one comment. I'm not a comment guy. I don't get in my comments. I don't think it's healthy for the brain to get in the comments. But I assume there's going to be more comments the more I show my face out there. So that's going to be a little more personal. But
we love it.
I do
Keep bringing
agree
it.
with the overall sentiment that, yes, I do not want him to catch full-time. I don't want him to catch, like, going forward. For that reason, and I've said that on this podcast, but a 1 month stretch, a September, and who knows how deep we get into October, right? Like that stretch to me, hopefully shouldn't decline his offense too much, and even if it does, it's still an upgrade over what we've had at that position, like a significant upgrade. If he drops by 100 points in OPS, he's still like a 900, you know? So it's an upgrade for sure. And my hope is, the reason why I said start it in September was for that reason. So there is some validity to that argument, because I do agree. I don't want him touching the catcher position after this year. But, circumstances change year to year. Goldschmidt's not going to be here long term, so it's not an issue we're going to have to worry about. But,
I don't have the math.
I think it's worth doing.
I don't have the numbers and the math down to a science, but I'm sure if Ben Rice were to go 0 for his next 100, he still would have a better OPS than all of our catchers right now. So you're not going to convince me on this argument that you're not willing to roll the dice because you're scared his offensive output will not be the same. Realistically speaking, how much of a hit would it take? And two, keeping Paul Goldschmidt in there is huge. Not having to have Austin Wells or J.C. Escaro, who essentially is a free out at this point. I'll give Austin Wells some credit. He had an RBI, what was it, a double in the series?
Yeah.
So, I'll give him credit for that.
2 homers in his first rehab game, too.
Right, but by and large, this entire year
yeah.
has been dreadful. And honestly, was not all that impressive last year either. J.C. Escaro has been sent down 5 times, but because Ali Sanchez can't have a kid in the offseason, and because Austin Wells has chronic migraines, that's the only reason why he's on this team.
I feel
so
bad.
Give me a break.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah.
He's been told he's been sent down twice, only to be brought back up again, instantly. It's weird. It's weird.
How many plane tickets back to Scranton
I
has
don't know
he
if he's
booked
ever
and
gotten
had to
on a
come
plane.
back?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or how many times do you have to rent a car?
Who knows?
Drive back.
They're already obviously showing signs that they want a new catcher. When Jack Curry really reports anything, and he reported that they're very interested in Ryan Jeffers, that's usually the guy I listen to. The national reporters are less, credible in a sense. You'd rather just the guy that's really close to the Yankees report that kind of stuff. So
right.
If they're looking at Jeffers, they're thinking along the same lines as us. And Dylan put out a nice clip of us talking about Jeffers as well. We kind of just wanted to bring 2 perspectives to it, because the Yankees, if they don't get Jeffers, there's not too many other full-time catchers that would really make an impact on the market, other than a Dylan Dingler, which would really break the house, stuff like that. So we provided multiple perspectives, different angles that they can go with. Give the fans a preview of what they might see.
Listen, we're just preparing you for every outcome,
of course.
and I hope the one outcome is not that they continue to just roll out what they have now, and they're just like, you know what, Paul Goldschmidt, signed him as a bench bat. Sorry, that's your role, when the guys get healthy. I hope, because we really haven't talked about that being an option, because I find it impossible for that to be the decision Boone and company comes to, but I guess it's always on the table. It's never a 0%
And the
chance.
other part of, Rice's offense would decline at catcher. Well, does Rice's offense decline because now you're splitting time with him and Goldschmidt? Because, are you essentially just removing Goldschmidt from the equation if you get Ryan Jeffers?
Right.
Essentially, yes. And if you're not, then that means that Ben Rice is going to be sacrificing time. So either way,
you could ruin both.
You're kind of damaging Rice's production if you split time with Goldschmidt, and you're removing Goldschmidt's production if you just start Rice all the time and get Jeffers.
Right.
So you got like you can't. I don't know what the saying is. You can't something and something too. Something with cake. You can't want your cake and have it too. Something like that. What is it? What's the saying?
I don't know. Usually I can figure out what you're trying to say. This time I'm not following.
You can't cut your cake and have it too. I don't know what it is. I'll look it up while you're talking. Please entertain the people.
All right. Yeah. Well, usually I figure it out, but I understand what you're trying to say.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. That's the phrase.
Yeah. I guess so.
Okay.
I mean, you take the risk of both guys losing some of their production output. I think it's better to just risk that one does than both. So it also comes down to that decision too. Do you want Paul and Ben to potentially not be the same guys they've been just because you want them to have each to play and to split some time, or just move Rice to catcher and both can play full time?
Right.
And like you said, Penn Rice has played catcher. Like, this is not the first time he's ever caught in his life. This is like, there will be a transition period a little bit, having to get used to maybe ABS. And that's another thing too, like challenging. He'll have to sort of get a better eye for the strike zone, because I will say the opposition in that regard would have a tremendous advantage. There's a very good chance Ben Rice is not challenging pitches. And maybe then the pitchers feel more obligated to challenge. And I know that's something we don't want either, because a pitcher thinks everything's a strike for the most part. So that would be the one thing that I think the Yankees would be giving up in terms of leverage. But at the same time, we've seen time and time again how many teams, if they lose a challenge early on, they typically don't use that second one until late in the game. Or if they have both, a lot of times they don't challenge early on in the game because they don't want to take the chance that they lose the one for the rest of the, So it's kind of like a yin and a yang. It just, I think, depends on the team you're playing, if they're willing to give up an ABS challenge to challenge that early on. But that would be one thing. I guess you can make the argument for like a Wells or an Escara staying or trading for a Jeffers, someone who's familiar with the strike zone, who's been catching so many times, they kind of have it down to a science. That would be the one thing I could see people having a gripe with, and I would agree with them.
And I was surprised I didn't see more of that. Now the video just went out. It's only an hour.
Yeah.
It's only an hour, aged an hour. It's only
go check it out on Bronx Bombers SS and the Allen Hour Instagram, both on there. We collabed.
Yeah. So look, maybe there'll be more comments about this, but that was kind of the only argument you can present for Austin Wells or the JC Escara is just the overall defensive impact, with ABS included as well. Ben Rice, when he did catch last year, he wasn't a great defensive catcher. So you're going to have a drop-off there, too. And that could become really annoying in a playoff game, right? I mean, You get teams kind of running all over you and putting themselves in scoring position constantly. That could get annoying, almost to a point where I think if it gets bad, like that could be way more annoying than any offensive drop-off that we might see from Ben Rice. So I was a bit surprised nobody brought that up yet. Maybe somebody will.
I mean, think about the two teams. What two teams come to mind in the American League that would fit that criteria?
The Red Sox and Blue Jays to me.
To me, I would add Tampa and Cleveland.
Yeah, Tampa, Cleveland.
To those teams that just run all over you, that will definitely bunt for singles. Like I mentioned last episode, how to attack Skubal. Maybe the Yankees would do it. They didn't, because Goldschmidt went crazy, Dominguez went crazy, but you've seen at least the Guardians, they've bunt for singles all the time on Skubal just to get underneath his skin a little bit. And those are two teams with the Rays as well in the division that the Yankees could very much play. And you add in Toronto, who maybe makes a late season push. They're under 500 right now, so I'm not too worried about them as it is right now. But that is a team that had a great run last year, good experience. That could be feisty in that way, that steals bases.
100%.
The Yankees play that way too. They're aggressive on the base paths, but they don't bunt. Like they're not going to bunt like maybe Cleveland would. So those are teams where I could see like a pass ball. They're just going to go. They're going to bunt, move guys over. They're going to run on Ben Rice. They're going to.
Yeah, the Yankees it's
tricky.
They're less likely going into a game to say, okay, they have a bad catcher. We're going to make that our whole identity for the game. That's like what a Cleveland Guardian and Tampa Bay Ray look for.
Yeah.
Is that edge where if Ben Rice is in the game, they'll be like, our entire game plan is to make Ben Rice uncomfortable back there. So, yeah, I mean, look, it could be worrisome for sure. It doesn't look like they're leaning in that direction at all. I haven't heard anything about Ben Rice moving back to catcher, getting reps at catcher, anything like that. So it seems more like the trade deadline acquisition part of it. So we might be safe from Ben Rice being the catcher. But it is definitely an option. It's not too outrageous to ask a young guy, by the way, who played that position his entire minor league career to go back and play it for a month and a half.
Here's what I think. I think. I agree with what you're saying. I think they ultimately will trade for one. I don't think they'll put Ben Rice at catcher, and here's my reason. Because I believe this next month or so could be used as like a trial run. and they could say, you know what, let's give Rice a month at catcher. We'll see if we like what we see, and if not, we'll go trade for somebody. And if we do, we won't. The fact that we're not getting this trial period, I understand he's caught before, but to kind of maybe get him adjusted to ABS and the challenging system, and just to get him in that realm of catching again, and then to come to the table and be like, okay, what did we think of how we did this last month? Do we trade for Jeffers, or are we content with what we have? The fact that we haven't seen that yet I would also lean towards them acquiring someone.
I think that's good analysis there, because I think like even if they did it for once a week, right, just to see it, like you don't have to do 3 times a week Ben Rice catcher, just once a week, then maybe twice a week, stuff like that. I think the other part of it that's really valuable too, that, and I know first base isn't some insane, like you need a good defender there, but Paul Goldschmidt's a great defender at first base, and Ben Rice, he's not. That's like kind of the thing about his game. He's not really a great defender, and part of that is because he didn't play first base his entire life, right? So there's also part of that there where you're getting an even better defensive lineup in the infield, which when they're fully healthy, I'm super excited about. Like you could have McMahon, Caballero, Jazz, and Goldschmidt as your infield defense, which is insanely valuable.
And how many times can we come here and be like, the supporting cast was really, really good around, let's say, Aaron Judge, for argument's sake, when it comes to playoff time. Usually that's the crutch, or that's the Achilles heel, that the supporting cast did not help. What happened last year, right? Trent Grisham hit over 30 home runs, no show. Cody Bellinger, no show. Judge was really Stanton, no show. Judge was the only one who consistently showed up in the playoffs last year. Cam Schiller too, but I'm just talking offense.
Yeah.
When it comes to October baseball, we saw what happened last year. We saw what happened in 2024 when the supporting cast did stuff, right? Volpe had a tremendous postseason. Stanton had a great postseason. Soto had a great postseason. Judge, not so great, but he had his moments. And it got him all the way to the World Series. And they could have won at least 2 games in that series if they just didn't goof away both games, right? This year, there's no way you can convince me you're benching a guy in Paul Goldschmidt who's putting up these kind of numbers as a supporting cast, in that supporting cast role. Like, these are performances you need in October that you're banking on. And, like, especially if you're not getting them from Trent or from Cody or from Stanton. Like, you need somebody. And last year we saw no one show up. Like, so to me, I understand Ben Rice, maybe he'll also fill in that, but the fact that you have a guy in Paul when it comes to October baseball, you need all the help you can get around guys like Judge that are going to have slumpish nights, that are going to strike out with guys on. You need your guys like Paul that'll put the ball in play, and that will drive in runs and create traffic on the base paths. So they have to figure out some kind of a way to have these guys start full-time. And unfortunately, I do think that they will trade for a catcher, because I do agree that the fact that we haven't seen Rice out there yet tells me that they're not comfortable putting him out there, because I think this would be the time to show it.
And we saw a Paul Goldschmidt, Ben Rice platoon last year in the playoffs, and Ben Rice played well, and Paul Goldschmidt played well in the playoffs. So, but you have to, there's 3 outcomes here, right? The Yankees put Ben Rice at catcher, and they start Paul Goldschmidt full-time, 2 hitters that are hitting extremely well in the lineup every single day. Okay. Or you put Ryan Jeffers at catcher or whoever, and Ben Rice at first base. 2, again, really good hitters, but now you're sacrificing Paul Goldschmidt's really good numbers, and he's sitting on the bench not really doing anything for you, where you have other positions out there that are really struggling and stuff like that. And then there's option 3 where you have your catcher and Ryan Jeffers, whoever, and now you're splitting time between Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt, which is kind of like sacrificing both of their offense. So there's really not a win-win answer except for putting Ben Rice at catcher, which is, again, I'm not in the building. I don't know how it looks. I don't know how accepting he is of it. Maybe he's put catcher in his past, and he's like, I want to focus on first base now. Like, I don't want to catch anymore. We don't know all of those answers, obviously. But it would save you prospects to not go get a catcher, and you could push that elsewhere, bullpen, wherever else you need help. You would have 2 proven hitters in the lineup this year full-time. It just makes sense.
What I'm about to tell you is fully my opinion.
Okay.
Because I know for a fact the Yankees will not do it, so I'm not trying to predict what they will do. I am just providing another scenario that maybe they should discuss, or at least weigh in on one of these options, right? We're talking about what the Yankees could do. I'm going to bring one more. I've mentioned it on this pod before, and I want to know where you're at now. I forget when exactly I brought this up, but now seeing what Paul has done with this lineup, against a guy like Skubal, too. Think about how big that is. And it was not just last night. Apparently, I saw on Twitter, the last time Tarik Skubal had given up 2 homers to the same player in the same game was Paul Goldschmidt in 2021. So, obviously, Paul Goldschmidt knows how to hit this guy.
Yeah.
That's someone that if the Tigers go on a bit of a run, make the wild card, this is a team that the Yankees could be playing. And at the very least, maybe he gets traded somewhere else in the American League at the deadline, and now the Yankees are playing against him on a different team. At what point do you sit down, Andrew, and say, you know what? here's our solution. We're going to go get Jeffers. We're going to keep Rice at first. Stanton, you're a bench bat. Giancarlo Stanton, I'm sorry. You've been great with this team. Your presence adds some fear into the lineup. While I get that, Paul Goldschmidt has almost a 1.0 OPS. Like, you can't ignore that. I think that has to be a discussion that they should be talking about.
Yeah.
For a possible scenario for what they should do.
But that would suck too. I mean,
it would suck.
Taking that bat out of the lineup, especially in postseason play, that would suck. That would suck.
I don't think you can take it off the table though at this point.
No, I don't think so either.
I think everything's on the table.
I think everything's on the table again, and this discussion's early because we really don't have a timetable on Stanton. We thought we did, and he keeps getting pushed back. So there is some time still for Paul Goldschmidt to make his case. So we are a bit early on this conversation, but everything's on the table. But that would suck. I mean, I would love a world where Ben Rice, Paul Goldschmidt, and Giancarlo Stanton could all be in the same lineup at the same time. We'll see if it happens.
Unfortunately, that's the cost of signing a guy in Paul Goldschmidt a week before the season starts. You knew at some point that when everyone becomes healthy, someone's got to get the axe. Same thing with the rotation, right? You trade for Weathers, and knowing that when when Cole, Rodon came back, eventually Clark Schmidt, right? You knew he was going to get booted at some point, even though he's been pretty solid for the Yankees. Had a good start in this series against the Tigers too. So
back-to-back good
like
starts.
those are acquisitions where you knew in the back of your mind, and it sucks. But Ryan Weathers is not pitching like Cam Schlittler. This is like Paul Goldschmidt is playing. I don't want to say MVP level, but like you can make the argument for a weak American League and the age he's at. 38 years old. He's the oldest active player in baseball. Like, this would be if Ryan Weathers was pitching like Cam Schlittler. And the Yankees had to make this decision where I would also bring up the same thing where I'm like, don't even bring Clark Schmidt back at this. Like, that would be the stance I'd be taking. Now, it's a little less egregious because Stanton is well more prominent, but that would be the argument I'd be making right now if that was the case for Weathers. So
and it's
I think it's worthy.
It's different, too, because you have like a backup option for those two guys. Okay, we're going to put you in the bullpen where you're still used, your stuff is still valued.
Yeah.
You're just not starting a game. We don't really have that with Goldschmidt. And look, yes, they knew re-signing Goldschmidt, they would have to make a decision. They re-signed Goldschmidt thinking that he would platoon for the most part with Ben Rice. And they showed it early in the season. Against lefties, he was not in the lineup, Ben Rice, and Paul Goldschmidt was in there. And then Ben Rice started consistently hitting lefties or making enough noise against righties that you couldn't bench him against lefties. And then Paul Goldschmidt became a bench bat. And he was very good bench bat. But I don't think the Yankees expected this. I mean, how could they?
No, neither did we.
When he was a full-time player last year, he wasn't playing like this. A guaranteed full-time player last year, he wasn't playing like this. So they have options. They have things that they can do to assure they have the best lineup out there, but maybe it sacrifices some Ben Rice offense and sacrifices some defense at that position. We'll see where they go.
Let us know in the comments down below
please.
what you think the Yankees should do.
Ongoing discussion.
Because this is a difficult decision. Not saying it's easy for Aaron Boone. In fact, this is the best possible scenario to be in because you'd rather have to choose between three really good players or two really good players rather than it being, I guess, somewhat easy.
Yeah, I see
because
this.
then Paul Goldschmidt would not be playing this well, and maybe you don't win yesterday's game and other games.
I see this phrase a lot. It's a good problem to have.
It is. It always is.
I hate that term.
I understand why you say that, but
I would prefer if these things were obvious. Like, yes, we got two players playing really well. We're going to start those two guys. This third player is kind of stinky. We're not going to play him. Like, it's kind of molding into that decision with Ryan Weathers, where, like, he's clearly not the best performing starter. So it's like, okay, when Fried comes back, you're going to go to the bullpen. Easy decision. It's a good problem to have because we have a lot of good players, but we could make the wrong decision, right? We could play the 66%. We have we could play the two wrong players. Or the one wrong player over the number, right?
You take that gamble.
Yeah.
But I also think that you're not winning some of these games down the stretch if Paul Goldschmidt is not panning out as he is. Or Ben Rice, for that matter.
It's very true.
Many of these guys are not panning out like we thought. This team might be a 500 club. And while you're saying to yourself, well, the decision to make this guy full-time and trade for this catcher was easier, you might be on an uphill battle of 9 less wins than you have now or 10 less wins, whatever figure you think. The fact that they've been playing this well, with how bad the catcher position has been, too. Like, I think this is the best case scenario, and it just sucks that Boone and company will have to pick somebody. We just hope that they eventually put Ben Rice at catcher. Listen, they still have some time to do that 1 month little trial, or maybe just they only want 3 weeks at it. They still have some time, but that was just something to put on your radar. The fact that we haven't even heard rumblings of that being something that they're going to explore or experiment with, that's kind of troublesome. Let's get to this Tigers series. I know it took... What are we at here? damn near 20 minutes to get to the games. But that's the hot topic right now. It's
what people want to hear.
What people want to hear. Frankly, that's what I want to talk about. And the other thing I want to talk about, and I'll get to game one, the only loss. Who cares? This team goes out there, I should say Jason Dominguez, Paul Goldschmidt,
But we
and,
talked
and
about
the
the
pitching
only
staff.
loss. Remember, we talked about the
yeah,
only
we did.
loss.
That's
We
right.
came on a day late.
2-0 since the last video, baby.
Exactly. We're undefeated since the last video.
Tarik Skubal, Andrew, someone that a lot of people think the Tigers will eventually trade if they continue down this path of not being a playoff team. Yankees go out there. We both said on the pod, like, we hope they can beat Casey Mize. And then, again, not expecting a win against Skubal, but it would be really, really nice. And while, by and large, the offense didn't do great, Paul Goldschmidt showed up. Jason Dominguez crushed a ball he should crush. Like, that's a big spot where you can't miss that hanging changeup against the guy in Skubal who the next pitch will bury it and make you look silly. Like, those are big moments. And then on the other side of things, Ryan Weathers had a tremendous start. For a guy, again, that probably knows the writing is on the wall for his role, he's still going out there and trying to make this somewhat of a difficult decision for Boone to make when that time comes. Had a tremendous outing. Fernando Cruz in the bullpen had 4 strikeouts and his 4 outs recorded. Like, Bednar had a good ninth. Just an overall great game.
Yeah, and he's at the point now where he's matched his season high of innings. Actually, that's not true. His rookie year, he had 94 innings, but he's getting there. One more start, he's probably going to be over that amount. He's at 86. That would be a pretty good start now, actually. 2 more starts, he'll get over that. So we're in uncharted territories or bad weathers. Something like that. Weathers we haven't seen before. No, so we're kind of getting to a point where Weathers is getting to a point where we haven't seen him go this long in games before, haven't seen him pitch this long into a season. So really nice to see him bounce back. I didn't look at the fastball numbers, but I will look at the fastball numbers. The thing with Skubal that I really like that they did, obviously, was hit homers, but you can't really rally against a pitcher like Tarik Skubal and against a lot of these pitchers at the top of the league, right? You're kind of gonna need to win a game like that by slugging. And what did they have against Tarik Skubal? 4 hits, something like that?
Yeah, 4 hits.
4 hits, and 3 of them were homers.
Yeah.
So it's not a guy you're going to rally against and have 3-4 hits in an inning and be able to score runs that way. So they really needed to get their big boy bants on and start hitting some bombs. And thank God Paul Goldschmidt literally owns Tarik Skubal because, I mean, he was huge in this game. And another thing we have to touch on is Jason Dominguez's splits this year as a righty and a lefty. He is so much better right now from the right-handed batter's box than he is from the left-handed batter's box, which is something we have not seen so far from him. In the same amount of games, he's a little more plate appearances from the left side. He's batting .300 from the right side with an .800 OPS, batting .170 from the left with a .600 OPS. Now, I'm not worried about the left side because I've seen that before. I think it'll come around. I think it's really important that he's hitting from the right-handed batter's box right now, and especially against Tarik Skubal. I think Tarik Skubal on the prior 2 at-bats threw him 8 changeups, something like that, and he couldn't hit a changeup to save his life. Finally hangs one to him in the 3rd at-bat and absolutely demolishes it. The kid's awesome. I hope he's really awesome. If he can, it would be so huge if he can actually become a consistent hitter from the right-handed side because it's something that I haven't even evaluated in my head how it affects the team because I've just assumed he's really only going to be out there against righties. But now it's kind of forced him to be out there against lefties, and he's playing really well.
It would justify keeping Jones out of games against lefties if he can
a pure
do that
platoon
consistently. A pure platoon,
which
and
I would
think
be
we'd
so
fine with. Considering by the time Judge, hopefully he comes back, right? Grisham comes back, they won't be doing that any longer. But you're right, if you can get good at bats against righties and lefties from 2 different guys, kind of mix it up a bit. I think that's huge.
And you're right. They're going to get Grisham and Judge back, and it's not going to happen. But they're going to get Grisham back before they get Judge back. So that's there's still going to be a hole on the right side of the field where they're going to be able to platoon them.
Yeah, and that's big to be able to buy some time until Judge comes back because, right, Grisham will be back way before Judge does. But it is a bit surprising, and that's another, I guess, good problem for the Yankees to have. Like, I just feel like this team from the start of the year, it's always been they've had so many good problems to have, if that makes sense. It really is something crazy. I also saw something nuts the other day.
Sure.
The Yankees have a plus 113 run differential, and I believe the rest of the teams in
it's nuts.
American League is like less than 10.
Yeah, the American League's really bad.
Like, I'm fact checking that right now because I honestly can't believe that. Right.
I think it's the Mariners, right?
Well, now the Rays, the Mariners are plus 4. The Rays are plus 13. So outside of those 3 teams, everyone else is in the minus for run differential. Like, everybody. That's including the White Sox, who are leading the division. The Central, they're 3 under. Cleveland is 8 under. Detroit is only, what does that say? Detroit is only 6 under despite being 11 games under 500,
Yeah.
which that's crazy to think about too. And with having Skubal out for most of this year, missing
lot of close
some
losses.
time, that's a lot of close losses. The AL has not been great. And you look at the National League, you got Atlanta at plus 92. You got Milwaukee at plus 123, LA at plus 144. Like that's where all the teams are at. One other thing too I found kind of interesting is you have the Central is all kind of compact in the National League, but the Nationals, who have been one of the better offenses in baseball, I want to say they might lead the league in runs scored, but they just can't pitch. They have 424 runs allowed, so that's the reason they are only one game above 500. I don't mean to go through the standings, but I just did see that stat that the Yankees having as big of a run differential as they did, it is wildly vast, the difference between them and the next, which would be Tampa at plus 13. So it's crazy.
It's good and bad. Obviously, it's awesome to be by far like the best team in the American League. Obviously, the Rays in games back aren't too far behind us, but I do think we're a better team than the Rays. But it's bad in the sense that you could get a team like the Blue Jays that now makes the playoffs on an off year, because it seems like 500 at this point might get you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you might get an annoying team that the Yankees don't really play well, kind of sneaking into the playoffs despite a bad year. So good and bad. I mean, for the most part, good, because I think over a long term, it's going to play out the way that it's supposed to play out. But you go 162, and then possibly 3 games is what you only have left to play, right? So you can go 162 games, prove that you're by far the better team than the Blue Jays. And if you played them 162 times, maybe you win 100 times. But if you play them 3 times, maybe you lose twice, right? And it could get annoying like that, where we face some teams that we don't want to face.
Now, the Yankees do play Detroit next week at the stadium.
We've had a lot of those this year.
Had a lot of them.
Texas,
we've done.
Texas, Cleveland we did
we've
that
done.
with. We've had a lot of
Now
that.
Detroit.
1 week out here, yeah.
And I would say the Yankees are, if I were to put a record on it, 1-1 at adjusting to pitchers they've seen a second time. The first time it was against Evaldi, who just shut him out both times. Was ridiculously good.
And he shut them out every time in his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go play Cleveland, and I believe it was Gavin Williams, I believe, that they didn't have so much success against. Then the second time they did, or conversely. But that Cleveland series, the second time they played them, they play a lot better. They won, I think, was it 2 out of 3, or they swept them maybe in Cleveland? I forget off the top of my head. It might have been a sweep.
It might have been a sweep.
So after losing, I think it was 2 out of 3 at home, they come back and beat Cleveland and sweep them. And now you get that chance. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we do have Boston coming up this weekend, starting tonight actually, and we'll talk about that series coming up. But this is another chance, and they'll have to face Skubal again.
Yes.
So this was a game, again, I'm not faulting the Yankees because they came out with a win against the best pitcher in the American League for the last 2 years. And they came out and they won a game that a lot of people probably thought they wouldn't.
Including you and me.
Including you and me. Probably the odds makers. And it was because of Paul Goldschmidt, Jason Dominguez, Ryan Weathers in the bullpen. So got to give them their flowers there. We'll see if they can continue that next week against Skubal when they have to play him again. I think he's slated to pitch game 2 of that series, but that's not definite right now. But
I have a feeling it's going to be a little harder for Paul Goldschmidt to hit 2 home runs in that game. They probably are not going to pitch to Paul Goldschmidt in that game. If
Yeah.
I had to guess.
although, I don't know.
It's
Skubal
not a
might.
one-off.
Skubal might.
It's not a one-off, though. I mean, this guy is literally, every time he plays him, he has 4 home runs and 11 at-bats against him.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a history there. And look, I know maybe he'll swallow his pride, you're right, and just be like, I can get this guy out, I'm better than this guy, whatever. But sometimes it's best for the team just to let that guy walk to first base and face the next guy that you own,
Yeah. Well, but I will say, up until the Dominguez home run, you can live with 2 solo shots
100%.
in a start.
It's true.
So that one hanging changeup to Dominguez, that was a bad pitch. The 2 home runs he gave up to Goldschmidt, Goldie was just sitting fastball on a 3-1 count, did his job. And then the second one, I believe, was like a curveball or a slider or something that just was a little probably higher up than Skubal wanted. And Goldschmidt just did a nice job, sat back on it and crushed it. But yeah, the one that Dominguez was a horrendous pitch. I guess I'm saying Skubal wasn't pitching poorly to Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt just did a good job hitting. So I guess we'll see. We'll have to worry about that next week when those 2 teams actually play each other again. But it is interesting. We'll see if the best pitcher in baseball pitches around somebody. I feel like that's kind of unheard of. It'll be interesting to see. He does have 4 homers against him, like you said.
Yeah.
To get to game 2 real quick before we get to Boston
Let's
and
do
our MVPs, because again, we didn't pick series MVPs of the series in our prediction episode because we had filmed after game 1, so we kind of scrapped it for this week just to let you know record-wise, so that will not change, but we will get into who we thought was the MVP of the series. I have a feeling I know who I'm picking already. But if we're going to game 2, the Yankees, another game where we thought they might struggle a bit because Casey Mize was good. Or I shouldn't say struggle, but we knew the offense was going to go out there and score 10 runs.
Yeah.
It was a game where we had a feeling it was going to be low scoring. Rodon on the mound, he had to come out and shove, which he did. 5 1/3, 6 hits, gave up all 3 runs, but just limited them to those 3 runs. The offense showed up, right? Casey Mize had a pretty solid start, 5 2/3, but he did give up all 4 runs and 8 hits. So the Yankees were able to do some damage against him and get a 4-3 win. The bullpen, another outstanding outing from them.
Yeah, what's nice is it's kind of a comeback victory a little bit, like they were losing in this game, they were trailing, and they came back and took a lead, and it sucks when you're trailing in a game like this because we reiterated over and over again, we're like, we need to beat Casey Mize because it's going to be a bit of a struggle tomorrow. Now, in hindsight, obviously 2020, they win the next game, but while you're in this game and you're losing and now you're like, crap, are we going to lose this game and then we have to face Skubal tomorrow? Like,
right,
in my head, there was a decent shot that we could have been swept at some point in this game. But the offense responded, and Carlos Rodon just ended it at 3 runs. I mean, he keeps going. He's had some pretty consistently good starts now over and over again, so his numbers are looking pretty good. But Casey Mize was a guy we had to get, and thank God the Yankees eventually got to him. They did get 8 hits against him in less than 6 innings. They didn't really work walks against him, only the 1 walk. But those 8 hits turned into 4 runs, which was massive.
Yeah, and then once they took him out, the Yankees only had 1 hit for the remainder of the game. So it was good they got the damage done when they did because Holton, Finnegan, and DeJesus got it done for the Tigers in relief. And then, as I kind of mentioned, the Yankees in the bullpen, they had Cruz come out again, so he pitched back-to-back days. This time in this game only pitched 17 pitches, but he struck out 1, walked 1, and recorded 2 outs. They brought in Hedrick for 5 outs. He got a strikeout, allowed 2 hits, but again, no runs and no walks. And then Bednar for a 4-out save, which we've seen before. And for him to only have pitched 17 pitches in 4 outs, very efficient stuff.
Yeah,
too.
very efficient. And I think
he's been better as of late.
He's been really good. I don't think he's given up a run since May 18th or something like
I'll
that.
fact check real quick.
Which that's a long time. We're over a month now. So yeah, just huge from him. And I would be remiss if we didn't mention Jazz, who's been kind of like a meme hitter this year. Like he gets hit in the crotch region and then immediately hits a home run in the next game.
You just don't want to say it.
He's sucking on a lollipop at second base in the first game of the Tiger series, immediately hits a homer in the second game, a go-ahead 2-run homer off of Casey Mize in the second game, goes in the dugout and shows everybody the lollipops, which Boone has had some inconsistency with this lollipop drama because he said that he took the lollipops out of the dugout, but as soon as Jazz got back from the homer, he just went right to the dugout and showed everybody the lollipops.
Maybe he hid it from him.
Maybe he brought him back in. And also, Boone didn't even know that Jazz Chisholm took an at-bat with a lollipop prior, like this year. He didn't even know about that either, which he did in Boston when he was all wrapped up in his cold balaclava gear.
Oh, we probably couldn't see it either.
He took an at-bat with a lollipop in his mouth, too. There's clips of it somewhere. John Boy pulled it up when he was talking to Boone. But yeah, just huge from Jazz. We need more like drama because it just seems like he hits homers and has his best games after drama when he's in the spotlight. The kid likes the spotlight. What can you say? The kid likes the spotlight.
Yeah.
And he shows up when he's in the spotlight.
Yeah, and he's a cocky guy too.
Cocky guy.
He's very charismatic, so that comes with a player like him. You knew what you were acquiring a couple years ago when you got him. Just real quick, Bednar, yeah, you're right. May 18th was the last time he gave up a run. It was against Toronto in a 7-6 win, and then it's actually funny that was kind of the end of a 3-game stretch where or I should say 4 out of a 5-game stretch where he gave up a run.
And the Mets is in that series
at 3 runs.
Yeah.
Yep, that 3-run home
so
run.
So that stretch was when we were kind of like, we need to see if Bednar can keep it going. Like he's struggling a little bit. Now he's really turned it on.
And in that same series with the Mets, he pitched Friday night's game of that series, gave up a run on 2 hits in 1 inning, but the Yankees were able to win 5-2. And then on May 10th against Milwaukee in a 4-3 loss, he gave up a run in 2/3 innings. I believe that was a walk-off home run. I forget who on Milwaukee hit it off the top of my head. Was it Bryce Terang, maybe? Did he hit a walk-off home run against
Yes, he did.
Okay, it was.
Center field.
So that was the 4 out of 5 game stretch for him where he just gave up runs, and we had our questions about him. But since then, he has been clean.
Yeah, and the one thing that's remained constant with him has been his baseball savant page, which has been like blood red the whole year. But sometimes that's not always the most reliable thing in the world. We saw it with Ben Rice last year where his page was blood red for the entire season, and he really only started to turn it on at the end. Sometimes pages are blue cold and they seem to be hitting fine or pitching fine, whatever the case may be. So it's not like an end all be all. If the bubbles are red, that means you're going to be great. But it's a nice tell that at least he was trending in the right direction despite him struggling, and now it's kind of coming to fruition, which is nice.
How do you feel about the Jazz lollipop thing? Because I saw a ton of stuff online from WFAN. Everyone was talking about it, and some people just were really either upset about it or just kind of didn't really think much of it, defended Jazz. I kind of wanted to know how you felt about it.
Yeah, all right. I will give my opinion. I'm kind of 50-50 about it. Like, I understand the point that, like, well, you can't have a lollipop in your mouth. Like what the hell? But then people put, thousands of seeds in their mouth at the same time. Now, if he were to dive for a ball, the seeds wouldn't get stuck in his mouth if he got hit, with the lollipop and hit the stick and went in the back of his throat or anything. So there's a dangerous side to having a lollipop in your mouth when you're on the field. But like then when Jazz goes, it's a kid's game, I'm just being a kid, it's not really like a kid's game. I understand kids play the game. That's how you get to the point that you're at. You play it as a kid. But like there are guys that like are working their livelihoods here. Like
kids don't make $20 million a year.
They're trying to earn themselves a living. They're trying to earn themselves like job security. Like there are real storylines about this kid's game that like really affect people's lives. Not that the lollipop is affecting people's lives, so to speak, but
he's downplaying the seriousness of his job.
Yes, it's a serious job. It's a really serious job. People care a lot. People have money on the game. Not that you care about people that have money on the game. There are people fighting for jobs. So yes, he has some job security. So he's not like a guy that's fighting for a job or anything like that. And I'm sure if he was, maybe he'd take the lollipop out of his mouth. But at the same time, he is playing in a contract year, right? I mean, how many things are you going to do this season that kind of push you as kind of a little bit of
you're pushing
organizational tester?
You're pushing the manager's buttons in a contract year.
Right. I mean, in a contract year, yeah, you're doing that a little bit, but I don't really hate it. I think it's okay. But if I was a manager, I would not want that to happen because I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the aspects of it.
Listen, I was kind of the same way at first because a lollipop, it does make you seem I don't want to say like laid back or that you don't care, but it does kind of just seem childish. But at the same time, given now that it's been a couple days since then, I equate blowing a huge ass bubble and it's snapping on your face and you looking like a kid that just is bored. Same thing.
Yeah.
And Boone blows bubbles all the time. I've seen him do it plenty of times in the dugout. He does not care. He'll chew on it as long as he wants. Aaron Judge gets a new piece after every at bat. You could say that's childish too. He throws it out like it's like a whole thing. Like he's blaming the gum.
There are some people that don't like when they blow bubbles. Some people blow bubbles while they're hitting. Like I've seen that before too.
Trent Grisham is wearing surfer sunglasses at the plate. Like at some point, like Ray-Ban, what are they called? Not wafer, but what is it? Like that square, rectangular, square glasses.
They're not baseball glasses.
No,
but
those are what you wear to the beach when you're opening up a cold one and sitting down on the sand.
Exactly.
Like there are plenty of examples you could point to. Like the obsession to putting so much eye black and making all these shapes. Like that, the point is we're drawing a line at a lollipop, but we're allowing all this other stuff to happen. Like Dusty Baker always had a toothpick in his mouth in the dugout. So it's like, you could do chewing tobacco. You could have seeds. You could have gum. We can't have a lollipop. I understand the stick kind of poking out looks kind of unordinary, but if we're allowing all those other things, I feel like a lollipop.
Yeah, I would agree that it kind of makes you look laid back. And at the time, too, when he was doing it, they were down 5-1, which, like, if you're up like 15-2 or you're really dominating the team, you got a lollipop in your mouth, you're kind of chillaxing for the rest of the game, whatever. But like they were losing in that game, and it's kind of like an unserious thing to do is put a lollipop in your mouth. So I understand people getting mad at it, of course. But yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I'm okay with that as long as it like genuinely doesn't impact the game. Like if he's like sitting there with a lollipop in his mouth and now he's late to a ground ball to his left side or his right side, if it actually impacts the game, then that's a problem. I mean, that would be a problem if he was blowing bubbles and was late on balls because he was too distracted on the bubbles. Like it doesn't really matter what you have in your mouth at that point. But yeah, I mean, if it didn't affect the game, I'm okay with it. Boone's not okay with it. I don't think we're going to be seeing it. He said like he can have all the lollipops he wants now as long as he doesn't bring them on the field. So I don't think we'll see it anymore. I don't think it'll be a problem.
I mean, God forbid, our hit celebration is this, and we're worried about a lollipop.
Well, I think maybe they think some of the people don't know what that is.
Hey, hit a single. Woo!
I know, but they don't really care about the celebrations, And I don't think Boone can have a lollipop in his mouth. He's not playing, but people get too worked up about this stuff.
I agree, but I just figured get your opinion on it because it was a big topic about it. All right, so let's get to our series MVP. again, we didn't pick anything for this series. I'll go first, right? I believe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna go Paul Goldschmidt. It's simple. You hit 2 home runs against the best pitcher in baseball and essentially win this team a game like that. Steal a game when you don't have Aaron Judge in your lineup, and your team only had 4 hits in the game and you had 2 of them and they were both home runs. That is gonna sign, seal, and deliver the series MVP for me. It's short and sweet. Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah,
and he's been rolling.
I like that pick. I'm just going to look at a couple things because I have a player in my mind. I just want to make sure I'm not gypping a player that like really played well statistically. The player I have in my mind, and just looking at these stats, the only numbers that really jump out at me is Paul Goldschmidt. Ali Sanchez was fine in 3 at-bats.
Yeah, congrats on having a child, by the way, Ali.
Yes.
Congratulations.
They seemingly always
Have the next one in the offseason.
It's such a long season, though. It's like a hard thing to kind of time up, I would imagine.
We've had this discussion.
Not
There's
the
math
topic.
to it.
Anthony Volpe had a nice series. Didn't really slug all that much, but had 4 hits and 12 at-bats, so he continues to hit, which keep going, dude. Like,
What's
again,
his average up to now?
like he's 270 almost with like a 370 on base, which, dude, we will be your number 1 fans if you do that consistently.
I'll buy your
promise
jersey
you
with
that.
I'll buy your jersey with the last name.
The
so
guy
I can't replace
I'm
it.
going to go with is Ryan Weathers. And the reason I'm going to pick Ryan Weathers is because not only did he pitch really, really well, he pitched really well in a game that he had to pitch really, really well in a game where he could not let the Tigers score. When your offense is hitting 3 home runs against Tarik Skubal, you need to do everything in your power to keep your team in that game and not let it up at all. And he's a guy that's let it up at times, and he's a guy that struggled, and now he has 2 back-to-back really nice starts. This one extremely important. Because, yeah, the Yankees were hitting homers, but it's not like these were all 3-run homers. You know, they were solo shots. The game was still tight despite the home runs. Ryan Weathers, you came through. I love you. Yeah.
Ryan Weathers, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you outpitch the best pitcher in baseball and get your team a win and hold the other team to essentially
He's a lefty,
nothing.
too. I mean, he's like the same, same
See,
side of the
Detroit,
ball
we'll
they're
trade
throwing
you for Skubal. You take the better pitcher. We'll give you the better pitcher.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime you outpitch Tarik Skubal, you're gonna get an MVP. And by the way, maybe I'll come back and maybe this will come back to bite me if the Yankees do go out and Tarik Skubal. And he's on my fantasy team. But this was way before. This was before this was a thing.
Here we go. Dylan's fantasy team again, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
I'm just saying I selected him. But this was when I did. It was before the WBC and all that crap, or at least if maybe I ignored it at the time. Him only pitching the 1 game again for the USA.
We're not bringing that up
rubs
here.
you the wrong way, man.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'll bring it up. He's a scumbag is what he is.
He struggled with injuries this season.
he does.
And he almost got hurt again. He
Yeah.
had like a groin issue or something was going on when he was pitching. He had to throw a
pulling
couple
the
warm-up
pants.
pitches. Yeah, he stayed in the game. But like if the guy didn't want to pitch in the WBC because he didn't want to get hurt because he's in a contract year, like and then he goes on to the season and gets hurt, like I don't Look, it's a personal game, okay? People are fighting for long-term contracts.
That's what you get.
For generational amounts of money. I understand him being a little selfish in the sense that he didn't want to blow his arm out or blow his back out or blow his paws or blow his shoulder out pitching an extra game in the WBC, especially because he avoided it and still got hurt. You know what I mean? We could blow. You know, I tried to be smooth with that transition. He won't let me be smooth. I tried to just go right past
we
it.
can't. I no pun intended. I can't blow right by that. That's gotta. That's no fault of your own. That's just my childish brain. I hope somebody out there also.
I think he had a back injury, so I don't think I just threw that out there.
No.
Not this year, but at one time.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing that rubbed me the wrong way was that he.
Now Tarik Skubal's rubbing you the wrong way.
Yeah, he rubbed me. I prefer the other way.
Sorry, Mom, if you're still watching.
I prefer a different way. But him staying with Team USA, kind of almost riding the coattails of his teammates. This is off. This is.
I don't think you needed to mention the WBC, and none of this would have happened.
I'm so sorry, but I'm not the only guy out there that thinks that. And like he was acting like he was still a part of the team and contributing, and he was just
That
there,
part, yeah.
kind of like going like, "Yeah, I'm on this team." Like, dude, you did nothing. You told your teammates, "I'll give you 3 innings. That's it. I'm done because I want to get a contract." That's not a true American. Sorry.
Look, I think
so. Again, if he's traded to the Yankees, I'll take all that back. But until then,
look, I think it means a lot.
Sorry.
And it would mean a lot to me if I was a professional baseball player and I have the opportunity to do that.
We had Noel McLean out there as our championship pitcher.
Noel McLean pitched fine in that championship game.
Well,
he didn't pitch fine against Italy, but he pitched fine in that championship game.
And he hasn't pitched fine all season.
Anyways, I don't hate players being selfish in that regard because this is their job. Like, you can't do this job until you're 60 years old like the rest of America when they do their jobs, you know? You get, like, maybe 20 years if you're lucky doing this job. Unless if you're a pitcher, you got to take advantage of it, man. You got to get your money. I don't hate it.
Listen, I can't be too mad because our boy Aaron Judge didn't do it either for the same reasons, I'm sure. So, but that just
Well,
kind
he
of...
did this year.
No, but
at the time. Yeah, it was in a contract year for him, too.
I'm acknowledging that our king Aaron Judge did the same thing.
Yeah.
But he let us down. But at least Judge didn't play one game and say that was it.
It might not have been the contract year.
But he didn't get the big contract yet. I think that's why.
I think he did. It was 2022, right? The reason I remember this is because I was in my freshman dorm when it happened.
Wasn't it 2021?
No, I think it was the back half. It might have been. No, it was 2022 was the last WBC, which I worked from my freshman dorm room, and he signed a contract while I was in my freshman dorm room. And I was only in my freshman dorm room for 1 year.
But maybe by that point he signs the contract, and now it's like a month away from the World Baseball Classic, and it's
Probably
too late.
something like that.
Yeah, that's my guess. But at least he did not go out there and be like, yeah, I'll have 3 at bats, and then that's it. He didn't. I'd rather Skubal not have played at all.
So the WBC started in late February.
Yeah.
Or actually early March of 2023, and he signed in December of 2022.
So, but again, maybe it was too late for him to join.
Maybe
logistically, like
Maybe.
you're
Or
wanting,
the Yankees just signed him to a big ass deal, and we're like, that guy's not getting hurt in the first year of this contract.
Yeah, that could be it too. But
I don't
again,
have a problem with it.
At least he didn't go out there and play one game, and then that was it, and still be in the dugout
true.
and throw this whole
He just didn't
parade and
play.
charade that he's on the team. Just don't play. If Skubal said, you know what, I'm in a contract year, I don't want to risk it, I won't play, I would respect that. But the fact that he's like, yeah, I want the uniform, I want the hat, I want the spotlight for 3 innings, and then I'm done.
He did
That's
want
garbage.
to come back, and I don't think his agency or the team let him come back.
I'm
Anyways,
sorry, your agency does
let's
not
move
control
on
what you do.
to Boston.
Yes.
The Yankees
Okay,
did win
fine.
the series.
They did.
Surprisingly, we hopped on here a game down on the first day the second day of the series, and we won the next 2, and we won the series, and it was awesome. Now we have a 4-game set in Boston, which is a stadium I don't like playing.
Against my boy Commonly Early, if you remember, if you've seen that episode.
Commonly early. We finally get, which Dylan, again, is not commonly early, we finally get the matchup that I wanted. Cam Schlittler and Connolly Early tonight. It's the rematch of the wild card game. Now, it's not in the Bronx, which is what made it perfect last time, but we do get Connolly Early versus Cam Schlittler. I have a prediction. I think Cam Schlittler is going to be better again. That's what I think.
Better than the wild card game?
No, I think he's going to be better than Connolly Early again, like he was in the wild card game. Yeah.
I feel like that's probably like minus 400.
It might be more than
betting
that.
odd, but
It might be more than that.
listen, if Schlittler goes out there and has another dominant start, it'll feel so much better with it being in Fenway.
First start in Fenway.
First start in Fenway. Like, this would be so sweet. He pitched against them on a Sunday night matchup in the Bronx this year.
It might not be his first start in Fenway.
I thought he had one,
I'm gonna look
and then
it
was
up.
getting a bunch of DMs.
You distract the people. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
sure. I do think he pitched one time up there this year. But yeah, you get him now there in Fenway again, whether it's first or just second time. It won't get old until this year's over, I think. When next year starts, I think that storyline kind of fizzles out. But for the time being, the fact that you're only up there 2 or 3 times a year, right, I think that storyline can kind of live out the rest of this season. So it's still very, very important and awesome to watch out for. You mentioned Early and him were the wild card matchups, so that's also a storyline there. Schlittler coming off a career high 13 strikeouts against the Reds, so we'll see how he builds off of that. I just hope it's not one of these starts where he's had one against Cleveland where they kind of tee off a little bit, have some big innings, and then he walks a couple guys and they bring some guys in, and he only goes 4 or 5 innings, which we've seen a couple times this year. I'm not expecting 13 strikeouts and 7 innings, but I'm thinking 6 innings, maybe a run or 2. 8, 9 strikeouts.
Well,
like, that's
I don't
kind of
know
where I want it
how
to be.
I forgot this when I imagined his Fenway start being the first.
And I guess I did too because I didn't mention it.
He pitched 8 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts in his first game in Boston, which now I remember because I think he was getting just trash talked on social media from all these Boston fans. You're a traitor. You're this. You're that.
Yes, I remember that series.
All
now.
that in 96 pitches, by the way, too. So went 8 innings in like a reason, and we didn't like stretch him 115 pitches in that game. He went a reasonable 96 pitches and threw 8 innings. Let's do that again.
Was that the Peyton Tolley game?
It might have been the Peyton Tolley game.
Because I know the Yankees
I'm just seeing Cam
Ahmed
Schlittler.
Rosario had a great game against Ranger Suarez that series. I remember that. And And then, so it's all coming back. Peyton Tolley struck out like 11 in 6 innings. He
Yes.
struck out like the first 8 guys or whatever
Yeah.
it was, something crazy. I just don't recall which game Schlittler pitched, but now that it's coming back to me, that was an early Boston series. Usually
It was
you
early.
wait until like the summer until these two teams play.
It was early, and this
It
is
was
the
pretty
last time
early.
we're in Fenway now, I believe.
Oh, so that's only 2. Right, so it's only 2 times Schlittler, this team's in Boston, and the fact that he's pitching there both times is rare. Usually it's one time. Like, the fact that it's lining up, right? So it's still a big storyline, even though it's his second time. He's returning home. And Ben Rice, too. He's from up there, even though he grew up a
is.
Yankee guy. He's from up there. Like, there's some juices to go out there and just destroy a team that he grew up, his family rooting for, right? That he didn't root for. There's a lot of motivation here.
Yeah.
So it should be a fun series. It is 4 games. I don't like playing in Fenway because you're right. Shit happens in this stadium. It's just wonky dimensions, obviously, with the Green Monster, that pesky foul pole in right field. Like, you have some crazy home runs getting out of there. It's just a weird stadium, and it's a team. Listen, Andrew, they're 12-25 at home. 12
Bad.
and
The
25.
worst team will be at home.
They
almost have the worst
horrific.
record in baseball, period.
Even the Tartan Army of Scotland couldn't save them. They are horrendous. Which, by the way, if you've seen online, Tartan Army, the Norway fans in the New York
It's been
City
insane.
subways
It's been
doing
really
the
insane.
Roh. It's been insane. The buzz the World Cup has been getting around the country, and they drank Boston dry like the Scots did. Like, that's just all crazy stuff. But
It's really cool.
it's been really, really cool. But yeah, this should be a series where the Yankees walk away with 3 wins. I'll
Should
give the
be.
Red Sox 1 because I don't think it's fair to predict a 4-game sweep. That's a lot of games. But I think 3 out of 4, when you have Schlittler going tonight, especially, I think that's very doable.
Yeah, and they do get Tolley in the next game tomorrow, and they do get Sonny Gray on Sunday. So they miss Ranger Suarez on Saturday. I believe that's slated to be
That's Bennett.
Jake Bennett, who is another lefty. So we get 2 lefties, 3 lefties, right? Because Peyton Tolley's a lefty. Am I
Peyton
making
Tolley's
that
a
up in my
lefty.
head?
Yes, he's a
So we
lefty.
get 3 lefties. So wow, if we got Ranger Suarez, we would have gotten 4 lefties.
But then we get Skubal on Monday. So that's now 4
So
lefties
4 out of our
5
next 5
game.
days, which I like that.
Paul Goldschmidt.
I like that.
Better not sit him again. Remember we had this discussion about
I don't
getting
sit
him
him.
rest? Never sit again. I don't care about rest. Never sit him again.
But you know why they sat him? So that they can play him this whole time now. Now, are you okay with it? They sat him so that
That's if they don't
They're
bench him
going
again.
to. They're
That's
going.
if they don't sit him
come
again.
on. 4 out of 5. They knew that they were getting 4 out of 5. That's why they did that. Anyways, and I know they knew that because he mentioned on Tuesday that they have a lot of lefties coming up. So they must know like stuff that we don't, or maybe these pitchers have just been announced this far in advance. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, a lot of lefties, which you pick first in the MVP thing, which I don't really like because I feel like there's an obvious answer here. But wow, we avoid Ranger Suarez, which would have been our 4th lefty of the series, and we do get Sonny Gray, the only righty, on Sunday. So I like it. I mean, they couldn't hit Peyton Tolley last time, so that kind of scares me. It's a guy, again, they haven't seen a lot. They literally have only seen him once because they've only faced him once in his career. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how the start goes. I don't love that Will Warren is pitching in this series just because, again, this is a funky stadium that sometimes can really provide a lot of offense. And he's not going well right now. And for his confidence, I'd like him to have a really nice game. And it's a hard thing to do at Fenway Park.
And I feel like he's gotten unlucky
Yeah.
in some starts with defensive miscues. And this is, again, just with how weird the stadium is and how it can play sometimes. He gets a funky bounce off the Green Monster, a funky bounce down the line, and
Right.
all of a sudden there's some kind of a miscue. Jazz has a lollipop and, chokes on the little spit you get when you suck on a lollipop and he misses a ball. Whatever it is, right? This is like that. I could see that happening, by the way. That'd be kind of funny, but at the same time, that would be a huge issue.
We would not want
That could be something that happens. Will Warren seems to be that kind of guy where he'll put the ball in play. He'll strike out a lot, but he'll put the ball in play, and the defense has been good by and large, but this is kind of a wonky stadium, so I do agree with you there. And he's getting Tolley, so even though Tolley has been a little bit worse than the last time we saw him, like teams have started to kind of be a little bit better against him. I don't necessarily, I'm not as confident as I maybe was before seeing him strike us out 11 times.
Yeah.
The fact that he proved that, and in this same stadium, the fact that he proved that last time, I'm not going to expect another 11 strikeout outing.
No, you can't.
But he is somebody that has, upwards of 98, 99 to 100 in fastball velo, and if he's locating, he can be tricky to hit. So I don't like that matchup for Warren, but I do like having Cole on Saturday and Rodon Sunday. At the very least, if you split these next 2 games, like assuming you win tonight and you lose that Friday game, I like the pitching matchups for the Yankees on Saturday, Sunday to potentially win 3 out of 4 in the series. I know they get Sonny Gray on Sunday, but with Rodon on the mound instead of maybe Weathers, I feel like that's kind of the same. I'd make the same argument if it was Weathers for Warren. it's just not a stadium I think he'll fare well in. I think for Rodon, it's a good matchup, and I think it should be the Yankees take two out of the first 3, and that Sunday game will decide if it's 3 or if it's 2 games.
Yeah, and
the
it's
Yankees.
unfortunate. We almost didn't purposefully time this episode up with the lineup coming out, but we thought that might be a happy accident if it did. But their lineup has not come out yet, the Yankees, so we can't really preview what they're going to look like tonight. But
we can try and predict based on past lineups.
The one thing I wanted to mention about the pitchers on Saturday and Sunday, Garrett Cole, first time pitching in Fenway in 4 years. He hasn't pitched in Fenway since 2022. No, he pitched after the season after that. He went back to Fenway. But the wild card game, that was sucky. That was back when the Red Sox had Kyle Schwarber, and look what he is now.
Back when they actually paid for players and cared about winning.
Yeah, right. So, yeah,
according to Dave Portnoy,
didn't have Mookie Betts on that roster
fans.
still, though.
No.
Yeah, so that's 4 years. That's the last time he stepped in Fenway Park. That famous Kermit meme, right in the bullpen.
And it's going to be there again.
I'm sure it will be.
It will definitely.
And
be
he
there.
hasn't been pitching super, super well these last 2 games, so he kind of needs to get back on track too. We'll see. I mean, the only guys that I'm confident with the way they're going right now is Carlos Rodon on the back end and Cam Schlittler right up front. Those 2 guys in the middle, there's some question marks there for sure.
So let's get to our series MVP predictions for this series. As you mentioned, I go first, and listen. Maybe
if you don't take them, I will.
Maybe my pick was already kind of spoiled a bit just because we previewed the upcoming starters. I'm going with the hot hand, man. I'm not going to be a fool and try and be some wizard that predicts some guy that no one thought of. Sometimes when the fruit is just dangling in front of you, you got to just take it. I'm going to go Paul Goldschmidt. I think it's the easiest choice we've had in some time, given the pitching matchups coming up. How hot he's been playing, I don't feel he's going to sit at all, even against the righty and Sonny Gray Sunday. I just don't think you can bench the bat. And if Aaron Boone does, I will be furious come Monday, especially if the Yankees lose that game, because that's now twice, again, hypothetical, but that'd be now twice in the last week and a half or so where he sat him against the righty and they lose the game with no offense.
They're not going to sit him.
So, again, but you probably would have said that if I had posed this against Chase Burns, and they did. So I would say it's on the table. We've seen it before, but I'm hoping not. I'm just going to take the hot hand. Paul Goldschmidt has been awesome. They're going to have to figure out a way to keep him in this lineup full time. And, yeah, it's a simple pick.
It's a simple pick. I like the pick. I would have made the pick had the pick been allowed to be made by myself. However, I'm going to go a little bit strategic, kind of building off of what I expect them to do with Paul Goldschmidt. They obviously know that he plays well against lefties. They know that. Not that they're necessarily going to put him on first base, but I'm sure he's not going to see the most favorable pitches in those matchups. So there's going to be guys around him that need to come up clutch. And the guy I'm going to pick has not been known for his performance away from Yankee Stadium so far this year. But I think this is an opportunity for the Yankees to keep him in left field the whole time because the monster is a real pain, and it's a tough left field to play because of it. I'm going to take Cody Bellinger to be my series MVP, who hits insanely well against lefties. I think he's going to be put in a lot of spots where maybe Ben Rice and Paul Goldschmidt get on base in front of him. He's going to have a lot of big at-bats. Whether he comes through in those at-bats, I don't know. But I think he's going to definitely have the opportunity to make a really big impact on the series. So I'll take him. Again, think he's going to consistently stay in left field, and I think he's probably going to make a play or two that might change the game out there as well.
I love the pick because the defensive ability that he has, I think, goes
could really change a game.
It's an underrated factor, right?
Yeah.
If he makes some kind of a diving play in the gap or reads a nice ball off the green monster, throw somebody out at home or at third, which we've seen him gun people out in recent, in a recent game. Who was it he gunned out at home? I think it was Riley Green in this series.
It was Riley Green.
So
in this series, yep.
And he in the Detroit series. So he makes his presence known on the field when he's not maybe hitting or contributing in the lineup. So I do like the pick. You have that versatility.
So it's going to be Jose Caballero and Anthony Volpe that are going to win the series MVP.
It's going to be Ali Sanchez.
I think he's back. He had a girl, so I think he's back now.
It's going to be Austin Wells.
Another thing we haven't talked about, a little bit like of a groundskeeping, and I don't even think we mentioned this in the last episode, which Dylan's kind of a fraud for because he's been praying for it. Jake Bird is not on the roster anymore.
You know, in the back of my mind, I thought I mentioned it, and that's why I was holding my tongue. But listen, I'm more than happy with bringing up something a second time if I did, and if not, I can't believe I forgot. You're right. I should be put on fraud watch.
Yeah. So that's happening. Obviously, we mentioned Ali Sanchez, which I don't think he's back up yet. I haven't seen that tweet. Maybe that's what's taking so long for the roster to come out. They're waiting for that to be announced. So I still think JC Escar might be up here.
Hey Ollie, she have the kid yet?
Yeah,
All
right.
right, buddy, get down.
I'm
get,
looking
get
at
up to Boston.
their 26 man. So they did bring up Yerry De Los Santos for Jake Bird,
Yes,
which
yes.
is not who you were hoping for. You were hoping for a little more Giovanni Cruz action.
Maybe that's why I didn't bring it up, because when I saw that, I was like disappointed that they didn't bring
Yeah.
up Giovanni, and so I was kind of like, that was a nothing burger.
And another move that we saw happen is
Brought up
Ryan
mid for mid.
McMahon has been dealing with an ear infection,
yes.
throat infection. I think they officially put him on the IL with a throat infection. They said he couldn't do anything, I guess, the doctors, for like 72 hours. So they were like, all right, we're not going to like keep you around on the bench for 3 days. You can't do anything. We're just going to put you on the IL. And they brought up Oswaldo Cabrera, which is like a nice, fun guy to have in Fenway Park with you. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I'll tell you what, now that you mentioned that, given what Ahmed Rosario did in this stadium the last time they were up there, I don't think that was something we talked about. 4 out of 5 next games against lefties
Yeah,
with him on
that's
the
true.
IL.
That's very true.
Ahmed Rosario could be a sleeper for Series MVP, assuming he plays in 3 of the 4 games here.
I would assume he plays because I think they really like Oswaldo from the left side, not so much from the right side.
So
even though
Ahmed
he's taking a
Rosario could
switch.
be a sneaky little sprinkle.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that like we're not going to see Spencer Jones in this series, which like.
But see, like I hate that, because you need to play the guy. You do. You have to give him a chance against lefties.
I think they'd rather just Schumann or Jose Caballero.
I understand what
take
they'd
that
rather,
outfield
but
spot.
I'm just saying you can't get a fair evaluation of the guy if you don't give him chances at the major league level.
Well, I
against
think
lefties.
with the way Jason Dominguez has been playing right-handed, he's going to play every opportunity now he gets against left-handed pitching until he proves that he's back to what we thought he was going to be. And are you going to bench Jose Caballero to give Spencer Jones a chance at hitting against lefties? I don't think they're going to do that. I do think that like as soon as the lefty comes out of the game, Spencer Jones could be in there in many pinch hit opportunities. But no, I don't think we're going to see a lot of Spencer Jones.
This stems back to the conversation, John Boy, your boss, shout out, because I do want to give him credit for kind of standing his ground when he was talking to Boone, and he was kind of pushing the envelope on this discussion and didn't kind of back down when Boone started to give him some lip about it. But essentially what you're saying is what Boone is echoing, where they would rather cater to the lineup than defense. Like, because Spencer Jones, I think we would agree, is a much better defensive outfielder than Jason Dominguez.
Yes.
And so in your argument, or at least maybe what you're saying is what the Yankees will do, because you're right, they're going to favor the lineup. Boone said it himself, like in so many words. But in a stadium like this too, wonky field dimensions, defense comes at a high price. Like, I would almost sacrifice the bat a little bit if I can guarantee myself some really good play in center field in a stadium where shit happens. There's that like weird triangular little alley out in center field that turns into triples. You need a guy who can get the ball in, who can read those fly. Like, so I would almost say to you, like, I agree that Jason Dominguez would be the better bat in these games against lefties. I want the better fielder in center field.
Yeah, I mean,
do.
maybe you're right for that, and that's how John Boy feels 100%. He feels like
the better fielder.
at a time when we're lacking offensively, so to speak. I won't say we're lacking, but we don't have our top.
100%.
We don't have our top guys, right? We don't have a Judge and Trent Grisham and Giancarlo
A
Stanton.
38-year-old oldest player in Major League Baseball is keeping them afloat right now.
Yes, and
So,
at a
they're
time like
lacking.
that, where your offense is not going and it's not as healthy as it normally is, defense becomes more important in those games, and that's what John Boy expressed to Boone.
Shout out Jimmy. Good job.
He's really good, and it's a tough thing that they're going to have to do this series because. I said, you got to stick Cody Bellinger in left field the whole time, but it is a tough center field to play, and he by far plays the best center field on the team as well, and probably plays the best right field on the team as well, even though he doesn't really play that position. So what do they favor more, right? Do they favor that pesky left field that he's going to have to deal with, or would they rather him in center field? I don't know. I don't know where they're going to put, because we're not putting Jose Caballero in center field. That's not a position we've seen him at. We've only seen him in the corner outfield spots so far. So now you're looking at Jason Dominguez in center field, which is a position he hasn't really played since being called up. He's mainly been stuck in right field. So your only other center fielder is kind of Spencer Jones. Now, they did play against Skubal, Max Schumann in center field, and he played a pretty good center field. So maybe now against lefties, they'll put Max Schumann out there because they feel better about his defense than Spencer Jones. I don't know. We'll see. If I had to just speaking out loud, and I kind of talked myself into this opinion, I think we're probably going to see a lot of Max Schumann. If they keep Bellinger in left, which is what I think they should do, in just specifically in Fenway Park.
Listen, I watched the Mets commit 6 errors last night. I want defense out there. I do not want to have a game where there's 3 errors. God forbid 6, but like even 2 or 3 is too many.
Yeah, it's too many.
And, Dominguez is always due for one in right field or center field, wherever they decide to put him. So I will always sacrifice a bat. I mean, at this point, we're already sacrificing a bat at catcher, right? And we're not batting an eye at that. We're doing that for defense, so why can't I do it for one more in center field to ensure that in case the ball hits over someone's head,
I don't think they're going to put him in
track it
center
down.
field.
I
don't
totally
think they will.
agree. I 100% agree. I'm not predicting what they're going to do. I'm telling you what I think they should do.
Yeah, and I think we're going to
we'll
see not Jazz. I wouldn't expect Jazz to sit for half the series, but we might, because the outfield gets funky now. Let's just say they do go with Schumann for a game in center field against a lefty, right? Now you have Bellinger in left field, you have Dominguez in right field. At third base, maybe they put Caballero instead of Ahmed and move Ahmed to second base for a game and take Jazz, off the field against a lefty, right? They do have an opportunity to do that, and I don't want them to not put Ahmed Rosario in games against lefties, but I also would love if Jose Caballero was a bat in there against lefties. So there's a lot of things that they can do. I really do like their lefty lineup. I've said it time and time again. So I'm excited for the series, especially because the guys like Volpe and Caballero and Dominguez are hitting from that side. Like they're hitting well against those pitchers. So that's nice. So we'll hopefully see a lot of that.
And if Dominguez continues to play this well against the lefties, then fine. Because that's a not just an average at bat. That's like really, really good stuff. So I can concede the argument there. But assuming those numbers kind of come back down to earth from what we've seen in past years, and it's like pedestrian off, not superstar offense against lefties, but pretty solid at that point, then I'm convinced about the defense. But
you
I
would
guess for
think,
now,
though,
it's fine.
the more he sees them, right, the more consistently he sees lefties, seemingly the better he's going to get. If he sees it 4 out of the next 5 days as lefties, you're practicing against a lefty machine. You would hope he gets better too. You would hope there's not a drop off.
You would hope, but let us down below what you think the Yankees should do about in this series and any of the series coming up about defensive alignment. Do you favor defense perfection or do you favor more offensive perfection in terms of how to build the lineup? Like Andrew said, we don't have the lineup out just yet,
yep.
So I think this is a good spot to end today's pod.
Sure.
But make sure to leave a like on today's video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, on TikTok. We post all sorts of real short content, TikToks, all sorts of stuff. We put out 2 today, so make sure to check us out there. Bronx Bombers on Instagram, posted there. Allen Hour on Instagram, Allen Hour on TikTok. And what's your handle on TikTok?
Bronx Bombers, same
Bronx
handle.
Okay, same thing. So make sure to follow us along there. And then obviously here on the YouTube, you get your full form content. So we do appreciate everyone liking the video, tuning into the videos, and subscribing as well.
Well, hold on.
Oh!
The lineup has released.
Yes!
The lineup has released.
I'm glad I'm always a long talker with these
All
outros.
right, so I'm going to type and talk at the same time. Okay, so leading off at DH, they do have Paul Goldschmidt. Obviously, we expected that. Interesting that they went with Rice for the first game at first base, but Rice is batting second.
Okay.
Playing first base. They put Ahmed Rosario at third base, batting third.
There you go. So Ahmed is in the lineup, batting high up too.
Batting high up.
In with McMahon on the
Did
IL.
not go with the Jazz movement just yet. If they are going to do that later in the series, we don't know. Bellinger is batting fourth, playing center field. So they did not go for Bellinger in left field, which I had a feeling they weren't going to do, which kind of stinks because I really wanted to see that.
So they're catering to defense, just not with Spencer Jones.
They're catering to defense, but like left field, he's like the best left fielder in the sport, So I really wanted him to play left field, especially in Fenway. Whatever. Batting fifth is the guy who's been hot against righties, and we're not used to seeing it. It's Jason Dominguez, and he's going to be in right field. Right behind him at shortstop, batting sixth, is Anthony Volpe. Then behind him, playing second base, is Jazz Chisholm. In left field, they went with Jose Caballero against the lefty, which, with them going with Bellinger in center field, I kind of expect that to be the thing that we see now. And Wells is going to be catching and batting ninth.
So they would prefer Dominguez in right field than left field.
Yes. I think especially with the monster.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And I think he's played a pretty good left field, Jose Caballero. I think he's played a pretty good everything wherever he's been. It just sucks.
That's not my issue wasn't with Caballero. It was more so just I guess they prefer Dominguez in right field.
It just sucks.
But it gets a little wonky
that
over there,
we have guys playing secondary positions. I hate when that happens.
This ain't MLB The Show, dog.
Right, but I mean it's kind of like their hands kind of forced right now. They have injuries. They got to need to move guys around. Hopefully when they get healthy, they're putting guys back to where they should be. And maybe there's an argument when these guys get healthy that like Ryan McMahon's not really a part of the equation anymore, and like Cabby's kind of the full-time third baseman. I love him at short. Kind of hope that doesn't happen, but
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't turn into a Bo Bichette type of experiment where, granted, Bo Bichette had never played third before, but obviously it's not his primary position, Caballero at third. So you just hope it doesn't take a decline.
And we saw that with Jazz when we played third base. Like, he played a fine third base, but you have literally one of the best defensive second basemen in the league. Just put him at second base.
And I feel like you can get away with secondary positions in the outfield more than you can the infield.
Yes.
And especially the hot corner. Like, that's a spot where you have to be on your A game. You have to, like, be nimble. That's why McMahon is so valuable. Say whatever you want about him. And I've come on here and I've been pretty vocal that I didn't like how he was playing to start the year. But his defense, being able to stop balls going down the line, he's made a bunch of, like, leaping catches on line drives. Like, that's impeccable defense that you cannot replace easily. So
yeah, and in the playoffs when you know, teams aren't scoring 7, 8, 9 runs a game, it might be nice to maybe, sacrifice a bat in the lineup. A bat that, by the way, hit a big home run in the playoffs last year and has shown an ability to hit big home runs this year.
He caught a ball in the dugout, too.
Yeah, like, not consistently hitting, but, like, he's still a guy that can do that. Like, having that in the lineup in the playoffs is going to be pretty valuable.
So there's the lineup for the Yankees. A bit questionable on our part, thinking Bellinger in center instead of left. No Spencer Jones, no surprise there. Dominguez in right field. Those are kind of the headlines. And then, still no Ben Rice being caught behind the dish. That is nothing new. He's at first, but Paul Goldschmidt will DH. And, again, maybe that's something that the Yankees will discuss later on in the year when Stanton's ready to come back. If Paul's playing this well, maybe they just say, you know what, Stanton, we can't take him out of the lineup. So we'll see if that's something that eventually happens or if they just go back to having Stanton as the DH and Paul Goldschmidt becomes the bench bat. Those are kind of the top headlines for today's episode. So again, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media. Thanks for watching, and let's go for the series win. Let's expect the series win, but let's hope for the sweep. A 4-game series, a bit more difficult, bit of a tougher task, bit of a uphill battle in a way. But the Yankees, I think they can get it done tonight. They got Schlittler on the mound against Connolly commonly early. So, again, thanks for watching, everybody. Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Yankees.